And we are live. All right. Hi. Welcome to Bookcraft. I'm currently the only one here, as far as I know. Need to mute that. All right. Um, so I'm just sitting here crocheting. I am reluctant to tell you all what I'm working on because it's a Christmas present for my sister, who I know doesn't regularly watch this, but has tuned in, or at least doesn't watch it live, but has checked them out after the fact at times. So I'm not going to specify what it is. I will show it to you, and she's a smart cookie. It's entirely possible she might figure it out. What do we say to that? Are cookies smart? Anyway, um, I'm working on it in, let's say, segments, and the first segment is just about done. And yes, it just looks like a mess. I haven't touched any ends in yet either. But the first segment is about done, but I need to work on the second segment, which I plan on doing. I'm going to compare it to it, but I'm going to deliberately make it obvious what it is. I will sate your curiosity at some point. I'm trying to find the ends. Haha. Thankfully, that one wasn't too hard. Um, I will sate your curiosity at some point because I plan on making a lot of family Christmas presents this year. Not all of them crochet, but in various ways. But I plan on posting pictures of all of them after they've been given um, to the Pixie Elegance Facebook page. And if I ever get my act together, maybe also to Instagram, but I'm so bad at actually posting on Instagram. But I just haven't figured out how to do both at once from my phone. I'm sure there's a way. If you know how, please feel free to let me know in the comments or send me an email through the Pixie Elegance website or send me a message on Facebook. Don't send it to me on Instagram because I'm but um yeah, anyway, if you do want to know what it is I'm making, you can find out there sometime circa January. If I get this one done in the next week, I might give it to my sister next week because I'll be seeing her, and I don't always see her on Christmas. And she is very much a Christmas gifts whenever kind of person, and has been known to have to to give and receive Christmas gifts pretty much anywhere from October to, I want to say, February, but probably April is more accurate. Um, so this I literally just started this morning. It's actually working up a lot faster than I thought it would. So if it continues to work up nice and fast, then I might give it to her next week. And if I do, then I will post a picture, that one, on Facebook after that. So meanwhile, if you didn't see, I did put a video on Facebook the other day. I've gotten more oil, so I'm going to be making more of my soaps. I had posted before about this, but and I don't remember, I might have mentioned it in the last Bookcraft. I have such a bad memory of like what things happened when. Um, but I do have a fairy berries and cream that is made with um an oat milk base instead of coconut milk base, and it does not have any coconut oil or palm oil in it. Um, it feels to me, I mean, in part, I'm getting the longer it's so easier to work with. The edges, it is a harder bar as I've established, but it does have these kind of sharp, crisp edges. So either I'm just getting really good, or, and what I think is probably the case, the oat milk, I think, affected, and maybe not having those two oils in it. Sorry, as I've turned away from the microphone, I don't know if you could hear that. That would affect some factors. So we shall have to wait and see. Meanwhile, I am going to be able to start doing something that I've been looking toward doing for a really long time, and I'm super excited for this. I have a mold here for berries. It has a bunch of other fruits and veggies on it too, but fruits and I don't know if it has veggies really. Squash. No, that's bananas. Yeah, it has fruits. Pineapple, cherry, berry, banana, apple, and then it repeats them. But I can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 berries at a time with this. So I'm going to start making some berries with this. Have one for making small flowers. And I have, this one's really gonna not sound like the same thing, I guess. Throw you for a loop maybe, or just sound very different, but hopefully things will pop out of it well. This is for making anise, as in the seasoning. Um, I have two more on the way. One, oh, either my light just got brighter again or I got an idea. I have two more on the way. One is um, for cinnamon sticks, and one is for coffee beans. So once I have that all, I'm going to be making a bunch of embeds designed to be harder so that they come out of the molds cleanly. And I will make all of the embeds without coconut or palm oil so that I can use them interchangeably on any of the soaps, including the ones that are for people with sensitivities to coconut or palm oil or both. But that means that I'm going to be able to be putting little decorations on the tops of my soaps, and I'm super excited for it. The anise and cinnamon sticks are actually for a Christmas soap that I'm going to be working on. I have a fragrance oil coming for that soon too. And I'm only going by what the website description of the fragrance oil was so far. I don't haven't smelled it myself, and I want to be able to describe it to you as I smell it. All right, I am trying to figure out where Lisa and Karen are. Um, they did say they were um going to be here tonight, so hopefully they'll be here. Oh, there's one.
Hi.
Hey,
Sorry, I'm running super late.
it's
Oh,
okay. I babbled about all the things I could think to babble about, and then I was like, I should figure out where Lisa and Karen are.
I was on my way. I was even preset to be here early, and then life had other plans.
I mean,
So,
it likes to do that to us.
but
Yeah.
I am
Well,
here, I promise.
I was just explaining that I am working on crocheting and I will show what I'm crocheting, but I am not going to specify what it is until after the recipient has received it, because it is possible that the recipient might check out. She doesn't watch our videos live, but has occasionally checked them out after the
Interesting.
fact. Um, and so I don't want to reveal to her what this is going to be. But after she has received it, then I will post a picture of it to my um, Pixie Elegance Facebook page so people can see it. So
I'm good.
anyway, hey, how are you? Good. We have our last chapter of Little Men today.
Yeah,
Feels crazy.
it does.
How many chapters are there in Joe's Boys anyway?
I
I should
don't
check
know. We
that.
haven't even really checked into that, really. Or at least I haven't. Uh, I'm sure Karen is on her way, but if she's not here in like the next 5 minutes, I'll text her.
22 chapters, and the final chapter is called Positively Last Appearance. That's hilarious. I love it. I'm seeing some familiar names in the titles of some of these. Yep, I'm kind of already excited for starting that one.
Nice.
So what are you working on today?
Random. A new attempt at a new work shawl. It's only my 15th attempt in 3 years. Um,
Yeah,
but it's starting to get cold, and I figured, you know, nothing wrong with.
I mean, I still need to finish a sweater for one of your coworkers slash my former coworkers that purchased the yarn for me to make the sweater for her 2 winters ago.
I would ask for an initial, but several of them have the same initials.
Yeah,
So 3 of them have the same initial.
your team lead.
Okay. That's the third one I was thinking of. I'm like, wait, there's 3 of them.
Yes.
Ugh.
But yeah, I'm trying to make a lot of Christmas presents this year, but this particular one is for rather a sister who tends to sort of celebrate an elongated, extended Christmas anywhere from uh October to like February with some extension into like April. So
So it's the Christmas season.
yeah. And as we do not always see her on or right around Christmas, and I know I will be seeing her next week if I can have this done by then, which is working up really fast, thankfully.
Nice.
So if I can have it done by then, I might just give it to her next week and then I can post a picture of this one much sooner.
I just started a virus shawl during this last power outage, and it's coming along nicely. I'm on the fifth set of um
Virus shawl?
virus. The virus shawl? Have you never done one? It's
I
like
don't know
my
what you're talking
favorite
about.
stitch. It's one of my favorite stitches to do. I didn't bring it with me, but
Okay,
basically you start with a chain 10 and you make a circle, and
okay.
then you put in 20 double crochets. And then the next row you put in another 20 double crochets. And then the fourth row, technically, if you count the chain, is again 20 double crochets, but a chain in between each one. And then you chain 10 for the fifth row, and you go in every other like spacer stitch, and that gives you your loops. You do a chain 10 and then 3 chain 3s, single crocheting into the every other loop. And then you do a chain 7, and then when you're in the middle, because it changes depending on how the bigger you get, when you get to
Right.
the middle, you do 2 chain 7s in a row for like the middle to make it grow, and then repeat down the other end. And then you do your 10 double crochets in each loop, and when you get to the middle, you do 10 in the first 7 and 10 in the 7 in the second 7, and it becomes kind of like this curve, this semicircle. I don't.
What
I mean, I could try and make one up real quick
what is it
here,
called?
but virus
Like
show,
a germ?
virus like stick. See, I'll make one
See,
here real
that's the
quick so
part
you
that's
can see.
throwing my brain for a loop. I mean, I can see how it could resemble a virus in that, but that's not the first thing I would want to
I'll use
call
my
it.
purple string because it's easier to see. So, and a smaller hook. I do my chain 10. While we're waiting for Karen.
Yeah. I mean, we only have
I
one
might want to
chapter to
message
cover
her
today,
here.
so.
And it's a cute chapter, and I mean, there's a lot of details if you want to get into it, but you don't have to. And
Yeah,
I do my chain 3 for
it
my
is cute.
double crochet. And then I do another 19 double crochets. This is going to take me a minute because I'm a slow crocheter. Don't mind me.
Well, I'm trying to. I think that the thing I'm working on here right now together, hopefully it will look right. And the thing so I found a pattern that was available that I could have just followed that pattern, but it was a a single skein of yarn that was variegated, and I wanted to. There are a few different things. I just wanted to make some different decisions on it. So I sort of was inspired by that pattern, but I'm not expressly following that pattern. Um, and when the pattern with the particular yarn that they used for it has, and I'm like I said, inspired bohemian look. That's something that this particular sister really likes. And all of the colors in this are, with the exception of black, I don't have black in this, but otherwise pretty much the entirety of the colors of her wardrobe. But I should say the colors of her wardrobe, the colors of the decor of her house, the colors of her everything, really. They're her favorite colors. Just pretty much like earth tones and things. Very bohemian. And so when I have only one section of this right now, it just looks like a mess. Like it's not the same, and they're not the same properly. It should look right.
All right, I'm on my
I'm
second
trying.
row of double crochets. I was trying to show you.
Okay.
It's my
Well,
favorite shawl to make.
should
We
we
should probably.
should we begin? What?
I was gonna say we should probably start talking about the book.
Yeah, that.
So,
So chapter 21, Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Enjoy some fun. Um, Starts off with the kids all practicing stuff and working on stuff, and shh, it's a secret. Father Bear can't know, and he's around trying to do things without them. I don't know a thing. I don't know a thing.
I swear I'm not
I see
looking.
none there done that. I definitely every single year. Um, but I do think that they managed to surprise him with some of it.
Yeah.
Um, and I was confused at first, but I'll talk about that when we get there. But I was confused about what he did and didn't know for a bit there. Um, so they have Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is always celebrated at Plumfield. And they all came, including Meg in mourning.
That morning, I was like, oh.
I was like, Meg deserves better. Demi and Daisy deserve better.
Yeah. But it's a sad
Um,
reality, you know, it's how life goes. You never know when you're gonna lose a parent or a
yeah,
loved one.
yeah. And I mean, it's a sad reality today, as you too well know. Um, but it was so much more a part of life then. Um, and it's um these these books are really telling the story of lives significantly. And Louisa May Alcott does a very good job of keeping them very real. Um, so um, before I make myself cry, gonna move on from that. Um,
And I'm over here
so
trying not to laugh because I'm thinking of Demi's explanation of pilgrims.
oh my
Sorry.
gosh. Okay. So I'm gonna say something else and then you have to recap that because I won't be reading the whole thing. Um, but yeah, they are sitting there eating and all of the kids did that contribute to the various parts of the meal. I was particularly impressed that I think it was Nat raked the cranberries because that is not an easy job.
Yeah.
I mean, none of all the stuff that they did, they're growing food in their gardens, they're all contributing and they're learning how to contribute and how to take care of themselves, and it's very important. And none of it is easy. They work hard, but raking cranberries is, I mean, it's mucky. It's literally you have to go into a bog and there are usually like spider webs all over the place. And that's the last I'm going to say about that. But like it is hard work. And I was like, really? The like 10-year-old did that? Okay. Um,
Kids used to
I
work
I was just
hard.
I
Like,
was suitably impressed. Of all of their brags, I was most impressed with his.
I like how Timmy was happy about letting his ducks be used for the roast. Like,
Yes. And they were all just so, like, I say his brag, they were to some degree bragging, but they were just all so proud of contributing to the Thanksgiving dinner. And it was so cute. I loved it.
they
And
all just wanted to explain what they contributed. Like, like
yes.
recognition. And I'm like, I get it.
Yep.
All
And
right.
then wait, and then Robbie, um Rob, I'm young man, he's Rob, um asks about who created Thanksgiving, and Demi tells him the Pilgrims. And um then he asks about why, and Demi doesn't actually know the answer to that, and Dan does, which Father Bear is proud of, that he remembered some part of history that's not science, um, and specifically not nature based. Um, and then, um, and then he doesn't know who the pilgrims are. He says he thought that pilgrims were um kind of bird, and everybody laughs. Thinking of penguins, and I laughed because Demi says he's thinking of penguins. He's such a goose. I was like, it's just all the birds here. And so then Mother Bear Joe asks them, don't laugh at him, but explain it if you can. And Demi does, and I need you to
All right. Shows my third row is spaced out
recap,
by
Demi,
each chain.
recap.
See that?
See, I would have named that something about a fan or something. I would not have named it
No,
a virus.
it actually got called the virus shawl because of how catchy and easy and fun it was. So,
I
well, not
thought maybe
called the virus shawl.
viruses are notoriously fun.
But it's easy to catch. It spreads quickly.
Well, I'm going to have to look that up and learn more about it, but I just think it's hilarious that that's what it's called.
I'm not done yet. I gotta start the next row.
We were actually going to be working today.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm easily distracted. So Demi is trying to explain pilgrims, and he goes on about how they were people who didn't like the taxes in England, so they came to America, where they had to fight bears and Indians and wolves. Bears.
Which
and
kind of laugh at that part because like that part's a little bit sad, but
they
a little
all
bit
came
too
over
close to
in
reality
boats.
in some parts.
Yeah. They all came over in boats, and they founded a rock, and that would be Plymouth Rock. And one of those ships with a Mayflower were on the Mayflower.
And the greatest great grandparents.
And they all got together.
And they landed on a rock which Auntie Jo has touched.
Auntie Jo has touched, yes.
So cute. I love Louisa May Alcott's little preface to that, where she's like, and he gave a description that she doesn't say that was so cute, but however she worded it, but if the pilgrims could have heard it, even those stern people would have smiled.
Yeah.
So they eat, and one of the things that Father Bear has been questioning is which one grew the pumpkin? Wait, let's check.
I can't remember who. It's one of the ones we don't talk about often.
It was Rob.
Oh, Rob.
Pumpkin. And it was such a huge pumpkin, and they made like 12 pies out of it. Pumpkin, where's the rest of the pumpkin? And they just kept telling.
Yeah, where'd the rest of the pumpkin go?
And the time has come. Use that. Because well, we better get the performances done, or the performers will be asleep. And I was like, you're just gonna tell him now what the surprise is? Except apparently that part they already knew, and they do everything. It was the latter, which wasn't clear to me because as they described all the hustle and bustle and different things and the going up and down of the stairs, they mentioned in his room while he was practicing stuff or something, and it didn't sound like Mr. Bear knew any of that. Why are you just telling him now? Oh yeah, by the way, there's performances. And then and she's like, oh, this is the surprise part. And I was like, oh, he knew the rest of it. Okay.
All right, so this row is the chaining row. So I did my chain 10 over here. Oh, I disappeared. Sorry. Space. And then the second pace, chain 3s with a single crochet. And then I did my 2 7s. And the thing I love the most about this is by the time you do the double crochets on this has eyes, and when it's upside down, it goes down. so it'll look like it has a beak in between, like a little triangle, and it looks like little owls in the middle of the back. It's my absolute favorite part.
Yep, I definitely need to look this up.
But yeah, and then on the last one, instead of doing a chain 10, I do a chain 7 and then a double crochet in the third chain here because I did a chain 4 for the space.
Gotcha.
And then you just start with your 10 double crochets in these, and then you loop into your first group of 3 with a single crochet, chain 3. So by the time you get to your spaced row, you're just single crocheting into the last double crochet, last chain 3 that there is. So those completely disappear. They're kind of just spacers, as you go.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's really fun and it works up really quick, and it's my favorite shawl stitch.
I have never
It's my
encountered it
absolute
before. At least not that I knew of. I might have seen like completed ones and not known that's what it was. Anyway, okay, so they're doing their performances, and the first half of performances is the older kids reciting various poems, doing some math problems off the top of their head because it's the only exhibition that they have for people outside of the school. Not that they're significantly outside of school, since all of them help with the school sometimes. They're all Joe's relatives. But it's the only exhibition they have for people outside of school all year, so they show off some of the other things that they learn also. And um and then
weren't there some ballet things too going on, and Dick and Dolly did something.
yes, I was just trying to remember what that was. Oh, before they went, while they were setting up, Mr. Bear took them for a drive so that Joe could get some rest. Forgot about that part. Anyway,
Between dinner and the guests arriving. Yeah.
um, oh, and Dan is, but primarily like Mr. Hyde, the only person not related, is concerned about Dan. And when he saw how strong he is and how capable he is, and he saw how polite he is and how much he's changed in 6 months, they he asked suggested Gingley, oh, I might take him steal him from you to take with me on my expedition next year. And they're like, hey, I think it doing heading off to sea
Happy.
again.
Like he overheard
Very
it.
happy. And then let me see the blackboard. Tommy won in the spelling match. Demi read a little French fable so well that Uncle Teddy was charmed. Emil did a sea shanty. It says gave them a sea song in costume, but Epcot. And then so then everybody was asking, as the curtain fell and none of the little ones had appeared, where are the rest of the children? And they're like, that is the surprise. And then took, what is her actual name? They always call her Goldilocks.
Princess, what they call her, Beth?
They
Did
don't
name
call
her
her,
Beth?
don't they call her something else? Like Betty or,
They call her
well,
Princess a lot.
I thought that they called her a different
They
nickname for
might, I
Elizabeth.
don't remember it.
Anyway, like Betty or something. But anyway, um, little Goldilocks, little Miss Princess, because that's all she ever is, um, was taken away, and um, now I guess they have another nickname for her because she was placed behind the curtain and opened up, and there she was as Cinderella.
I love the description. It was
And
so cute.
it's so cute. Okay, now I have to read that part because it's adorable. Um, Bess, that's what they call her, Bess. Um, the curtain rose to soft music, and Bess was discovered sitting on a stool beside a brown paper fireplace. A dearer little Cinderella was never seen, for the gray gown was very ragged, the tiny shoes all worn, the face so pretty under the bright hair, and the attitude so dejected it brought tears as well as smiles to the fond eyes looking at the baby actress. She sat quite still till a voice whispered, "Now!" Then she sighed a funny little sigh and said, "Oh, I wish I could go to the ball." So naturally that her father clapped frantically and her mother called out, "Little darling!" These highly improper expressions of feeling caused Cinderella to forget herself and shake her head at them, saying reprovingly, "You mustn't peek to me." I love it so much. I love her so much.
I love like,
The rough and tumble boys, and she's such a little Miss Priss sometimes that I kind of don't want to love her, but I love her.
isn't she like 1.5 or
She just,
something?
no, she's like 2.5 or 3.
Oh, well, she's still so cute and little.
She's so cute and little, but it's
And
just
most
she
2 to 3 year olds
she
I know have a
very
lot of
much
attitude.
has that sense of somebody who could become way too spoiled and way too big for her britches. But right now she's so freaking adorable.
But look at the parents. I mean, look who her parents are.
Yeah, I know. That's why I kind of don't want to like her. I love them both. Well, okay, I love Lori. Um, Amy, I grew to appreciate.
Yeah, Amy was one of the characters you kind of grew to love because she was just so spoiled.
She wasn't even spoiled. She just acted like a spoiled brat without actually having been spoiled.
True.
Anyway,
Entitled. How's that? She was
yes,
entitled.
very entitled. Exceptionally entitled. Um, what was she, a millennial?
Gen Alpha? No,
I'm
sorry.
I'm just still irritated with people who keep calling people millennials when what they mean is younger generation. Like millennials are like married, divorced, in the workforce, and some of them are in their 40s by now.
All of us are in
So
our 40s. Well, yeah,
all of us are in our
no,
30s. Some are into
almost.
their
There's 2 years left. 2 years left in their 20s.
really?
Because 96. 96 was the last year of millennials.
I would have sworn it was. Although every generation will break, they're like depending on who you ask, there's like
Yeah, that's the
some slight
debate of
variance.
does Gen Z end in
So
2010 or
at any rate, the
2012? Yeah.
ones who are still in their 20s are cuspers.
Yeah. It's
Anyway, so
yeah. Millennials are basically in their 30s now. Leave us alone.
yeah, 30s and some into the 40s, although those are mostly cuspers too.
Yeah.
I am a solid early but not cusper millennial. Granted, I act like a cusper because I grew up without a lot of the technology that a lot of millennials had because my family were late adopters to everything. Um, but I still um am solidly right in millennial, and I'm 37.
I mean, I
Although,
guess I'm considered a younger millennial, being only 34, but I'm kind of middle,
yeah,
really.
you're I'm the beginning of the middle, essentially, and you're like the end of the middle. People
Yeah.
older and younger than us
I
are
mean, I still
cuspers.
remember times without like a lot of stuff, but I was lucky enough to have a lot of the stuff.
Yeah. Um,
I had a
Anyway,
computer with DOS mode. I grew up with dial-up internet.
I grew up not having internet. Like my classmates had internet by the time I was in fifth or sixth grade. We didn't have internet until I was in high school at my house.
Oh, I didn't have internet until I was like 14.
And
Yeah.
then um everybody else was getting uh cable internet, and we got dial up.
Yeah.
Um
Dial-up.
like by the time that my family got dial up, caring about having AOL wasn't even a thing anymore. You froze. Where'd you go?
Oh, if you froze or oh, there you are.
Hi. I didn't freeze, you
I was
froze.
like, hello.
It would be really funny if we watched the video after and it turns out that like both of us were frozen or neither of us were
Right.
frozen.
Not talking to each other. By the way, my phone is at like 6%, so it's probably gonna die.
Cool.
Um,
Well, let's hurry through this last little bit. Um,
all right.
so they are, of course, doing Cinderella, and um, Nan comes as the fairy godmother, and then when it's time for the carriage, out comes a carriage that they made with half of the pumpkin. And I was like, that's adorable. And I had already figured out, like, the pumpkin's missing, they're doing Cinderella. I had figured out what they were doing with it. But, like, that's adorable. And, and then, even though, it was a very, very large pumpkin, and even though, she's a tiny little girl, still, a very large pumpkin is only so large, and sorry to say, it was a bit of a tight squeeze for her and her feet stuck out. Um, the sorry to say was not me, that was the way that Louise May Alcott said it, I just want to point out. Um, and then, um, yep, and then they finished doing the whole production and everybody cheered like crazy, and they didn't have a chance to even drop the curtains because Bess ran off stage going, wasn't I good? And everybody else around stage, and they were all super adorable and hilarious. And um yeah. And so then they were all sitting around watching or enjoying each other's company and such. That's a lovely hat. Um
Yeah, I'm trying to like do like a size test here, but it's not staying.
yeah. I kind of like it draped over your head though, it's cute. Um so they yeah, they're just sitting around and enjoying the end of Thanksgiving Day. And Joe was talking to Lori about her successes and her the success of her experiment with her boys, having the school and then the two that she had been working with that year in particular. And Lori started referencing some things of, well, I think that as she was saying, like, it's so good having the girls here, and that's worked out so well, and this one has this effect, and this one has this effect, and Lori conceded that she was right, that yes, um the girls are very useful here. And then he told her that he didn't think that as much of the credit that she gave to the girls went to the girls as to the woman who was mother to all of them. And she deflected a lot of that in ways that I don't think teenage Joe would have. Um, and although she would have mostly she would have deflected it, but differently as a teenager. She would have like laughed it off and like, you're just being ridiculous, cut it out. And this now she's like, I think that you're giving too much credit to me and less to the, there should be more credit to the wife of that boy to whom you refer and to the mother who mothers us all and looking at her mom. And then while they're talking, her father comes over and gives his, because he's still alive, Lisa, and,
Yes,
and
yes,
kind of gives
that.
gives his blessing on all of it. That yeah, this is lovely, and yes, Joe, you do deserve credit. And as long as you guys continue, let me read how he says this particular part. I have all these pages at the back because there's an afterword in my book. Um, oh, I forgot to say after they did the thing that part of what started them talking was that Nat came out with his violin and he played a song and Joe was like they were expecting to be a different song, like one of the ones that he often played. And then did we lose Lisa entirely this time? We might have. Wanted it to be a different one, or thought that it would be a different one that he had already played. But as it turned out, it was one that they'd never heard before. And as they're listening to it, and Joe, like, I don't know if she recognized the style in it, or if she had heard it before, but she realized and looked at Lori and was like, "You wrote that. You composed that." And he's like, "I wanted your boy to do you honor and thank you in his own way." And then after that, they he played more while they were all dancing. And they all danced, including the servants. They're not really servants per se. They really don't treat them like servants. They treat them as, they're their staff. Sorry, I keep like scratching up here random inch. But they're their staff, and so Silas and Marianne had a private dance in the hall, which made me wonder whether Silas and Marianne have something going on, because they surely would have been allowed to join the rest of them in there, because previously it had been Silas and Asia watching from the hall. And Teddy brought Asia in to dance with him because he knew that she wanted to dance. So they're not like, it's like the staff of the house kind of have this assumption from presumably having been staff places before, even though they're treated like family and like they're just part of the house there, they still, they stand back still. But the people of the house, or extended family members thereof, keep drawing them back in. Silas, come in, tell us a story. No, Asia, come in, dance with us. And they draw them in, which I like. Anyway, so then it's toward the end of the dancing that they have their conversation, and then Mr. March says, "You're doing your best to help on the good." Oh, whoops, no, that's after that. Um, well, now I don't know if I can find the part that I was going to read. Um, okay, so no, that is where it starts. Okay, so Joe is saying that if men and women would only trust, understand, and help one another as my children do, what a capital place the world would be. Her children, of course, not just meaning the two to whom she gave birth, but all of her children of the house, which are no longer just the boys because she has girls there too now. So it's not just little men, it's her little men and women. And if they could help and trust and help one another as her children do, what a capital place the world would be. And that's when Mr. March is coming by. And he's like, "You're doing your best to help on the good time, my dear. Continue to believe in it, to work for it, and to prove its possibility by the success of your small experiments. And she's like, I'm not so ambitious as that, father. I only want to give these children a home in which they can be taught the few simple things which will help to make life less hard for them when they go out to fight their battles in the world. Honesty, courage, industry, faith in God, their fellow creatures, and themselves. That is all I try for. And Mr. March says that is everything. Give them these helps, then let them go to work out their life as men and women, and whatever their success or failure is, I think that they will remember and bless your efforts, my good son and daughter. And he says my good son and daughter because just as he's saying that, Professor Bear comes over, so he's addressing both of them by then. And so they stand talking. Joe and Professor Bear stand talking and feeling that their summer work had been well done if father approved. And Mr. Lorry slipped into the hall, said a word to the children, and all of a sudden the whole flock pranced into the room, joined hands, and danced about Father and Mother Bear, singing. And I'm not going to sing this, not because I don't want to sing, because I actually love singing and whether in front of people or not, but because I have no idea what tune this is supposed to be to. But they come in singing, summer days are over, summer work is done, harvests have been gathered gaily one by one. Now the feast is eaten, finished is the play, but one rite remains for our Thanksgiving Day. Best of all the harvest in the dear God's sight are the happy children in the home tonight, and we come to offer thanks where thanks are due, with grateful hearts and voices, Father, Mother, unto you. With the last words, the circle narrowed till the good professor and his wife were taken prisoner by many arms, and half hidden by the bouquet of laughing young faces which surrounded them, proving that one plant had taken root and blossomed beautifully in all the little gardens. For love is a flower that grows in any soil, works its sweet miracles undaunted by autumn frost or winter snow, blooming fair and fragrant all the year, and blessing those who give and those who receive. And that is the end of Little Men. So, as we seem to have lost Lisa, I assume that her battery died, and Karen was planning to come tonight, but I guess something must have come up, which um I'm not super concerned about. I'm not like terribly worried that something awful happened. But I do know some of her health issues and have a suspicion of what might have happened. But at any rate, with all of that, um, I will go ahead and end us a little bit early tonight, but we will rejoin on October 29th, 2 days before Halloween. And on October 29th, we will be, but in the next 2 weeks, we're going to cover 10 years because chapter 1 of Jo's Boys is called 10 Years Later. But we'll be reading chapters 1 and 2. The second chapter entitled Parnassus, and I have no idea what that is at all. But remember, if you don't have a copy and you want to read, of course, local libraries are always a great option. But with how much we're spread out over, oops, sorry, as much as we're spread out over many weeks reading it, if borrowing it repeatedly or going to your library to read 2 chapters at a time is a bit daunting for you, the other option is Gutenberg.org. Because we make an effort with Bookcraft to always read books that are in the public domain, they should theoretically always be available on Gutenberg.org. But I will go ahead and put the link to where you can find Jo's Boys on Gutenberg.org. I will put that link on the Facebook page, and we will discuss the first 2 chapters of it on October 20th.